Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the annual meetings and the Global Financial Stability Report press conference. It's so great to see you here again. I'm going to reiterate the message from my colleague who said it before. Great to be back in person. We also welcome our viewers online. I am Randa Nagar of the IMF Communications Department. By now, you should have received the Global Financial Stability Report online, and we are going to be looking forward to having your questions. Before we start, let me introduce our speakers here. Tobias Adrian, Financial Counselor and Director of the Monetary Capitals Department. Fabio Natalucci, Deputy Director of the Monetary and Capital Markets Department. And Antonio Garcia Pascal, who is a Deputy Division Chief in the Monetary and Capital Markets Department. Before we start, I'm going to kickstart the conversation with Tobias and ask him a couple of questions to get this conversation going. So Tobias, how do you assess global financial stability currently with very high and persistent inflation and, of course, asset price volatility?
Yeah, thanks so much, Randa, and it's great to see you all here in person. Global financial stability risks have increased with a balance of risk that is skewed to the downside. Amid highest inflation in decades and extraordinary uncertainty, markets have been extremely volatile. Risk assets such as equities and corporate bonds have declined sharply. A deterioration in market liquidity has amplified price moves, and financial conditions have tightened globally. In many advanced economies, financial conditions are now tight by historical standards. In some emerging markets, they have reached levels last seen during the height of the COVID-19 crisis. With conditions worsening in recent weeks, key gauges of systemic risk, such as higher dollar funding costs and counterparty spreads, have risen. There's a risk of disorderly tightening in financial conditions that may interact with pre-existing vulnerabilities. Investors may further reassess the outlook if inflationary pressures do not abate as quickly as currently anticipated, or if the economic slowdown intensifies.
Okay, Tobias, thank you. What is the most important development that you are thinking about right now and watching?
While in emerging markets, rising rates, worsening fundamentals, and large outflows of capital have pushed up borrowing costs notably, the impact has been especially severe for more vulnerable economies where 20 countries are either in default or trading at distressed levels. Unless market conditions improve, there's a risk of further sovereign defaults in frontier markets. Our global stress tests for banks show that under a severe downturn scenario, 29% of emerging market banks could breach minimum capital requirements. And of course, corporate credit is also facing an increased risk of default. We have also seen turbulence in markets in some specific countries.
Tobias, what is your advice to policymakers?
Central banks must act resolutely to bring inflation back to target, to keep inflationary pressures from becoming entrenched, and to avoid the anchoring of inflation expectations. The high uncertainty clouding the economic outlook hampers policymakers' ability to provide explicit and precise guidance about the future path of monetary policy. Clear communication about the policy function, the unwavering commitment to achieve the mandate of price stability, and the need to further normalize and, in some cases, tighten monetary policy is crucial to avoid unwarranted market disruptions.